Well, hey there. I'm just getting some epoxy ready so I can glue up some handles. Of course, getting the right mix is always fun. One of these days maybe I'll invest in a measuring cup or something, but for now, eyeballing it seems to work. So what are y'all up to tonight? It's pretty obvious what I'm doing. There we are. Of course, the easiest way for me to tell if I've got the same amount added is to see if there's the same amount left. And there almost never is. Where are we heavy tonight? We are heavy on hardener. That'll be fine. We can be heavy on hardener. It looks about a 50-50 mix. What do you think? 50-50? Once I start mixing it. Oh, schoolwork, yay. Hey, I remember those days. And you know, it wasn't until I was in the military for, I think, 14 years before I finally started using some of that math that I thought, I'm never going to use this. But it wasn't for the military or anything. It was because I wanted to do my own solar panel projects. But if you want to do your own stuff, then you're going to have to learn. So, what we're doing right now... Oh, medical terminology. That's fun. I remember that. Medical terminology came before A&P 1 when I was going through. So this is just some leopard wood. So are you going medical terminology for nursing? Or are you pre-med? Which way are you going? Leopard wood 1. Well, my thing is, no matter how much I mix up, I always seem to be less than what I want. And that's for pancakes too. But this is 5-minute epoxy. So you kind of have to get your move on with it. I've got some 4-hour epoxy, but then that stuff's got to cure for like a day and a half before you can really work it. This stuff I'm going to leave overnight. Oh, pharmacy tech. That's fun. I did some pharmacy, but not too much. The drug interactions that you're going to have to memorize are going to be a little insane. You're supposed to know before the computer does if something's going to react. And then, of course, they're always changing the schedule on what's supposed to be a narcotic and what's not. Totally messed me up when they took Ultram off as a general painkiller and made it a Schedule 4 narcotic. It was my favorite one to prescribe. It actually worked way better than Motrin without going wild. But then somebody... Where'd my mallet go? There's one. I got like 4 of these here. My wife gets mad whenever she sees these things because I make them. I walk into the forestry and there's always some downed oak in there, and I'll just grab, you know, if I need another mallet, I'm not going to go buy it. I'm going to make it. She's always getting on me. How come you can't just go buy it? Your time is worth more than what you spend making it. And it's like, well, it's more fun for me when I use a tool I made. So why wouldn't I want to enjoy using the tool. Otherwise, it's just blah. This whole rigmarole I go through making knives, I actually enjoy it. Same thing with shaving. I don't shave too often anymore now that I'm out, but I forgot the name of that store, but you get the safety razor and you get to work up a lather. It's more of a ritual than anything else. And that's why I enjoy it so much. There we are. Yay. Then we clamp it up and leave it to set. Of course, this part you have to learn not to squeeze too hard. You want to get a good bead all the way around the wood without squeezing all of your epoxy out, because if you squeeze too hard, then the epoxy layer is too thin and you don't get a good grip with the glue, and you want that gorilla grip. Understand my husband's making tools. LED lights, that is awesome. That sounds like he had as much fun making it as you do using it. So I tend to be the same way. My wife will tell me, hey, this is broken or this is on the fritz, and in my mind I'm thinking, oh, I could probably just do that with what I've got on hand, but then my mouth says, well, I'll need it's going to cost, I don't know, $400 or $500, and I'm going to need some tools. So I always end up getting something for myself out of the deal. Thank you. All right, so here's one glued up. I still have to put the final polish on the blade. I mean, it might be a little shiny now, but there's still more work to be done here. And of course, this is my general workbench, so this poor thing is beat to hell. This whole thing, my entire workshop, was built with basswood from my father-in-law. He had a fall of basswood trees when he was younger. I think it was like 84. And a bunch of trees fell on his property, and he had them milled and had them sitting in his garage ever since. And when we moved out here, we bought the house, I needed to build a shop, and he's like, hey, I've got a lot of wood hanging around. So that's how we built this place. It's all basswood, and then of course all of the particle board and everything else we did have to pick up. Pardon the noise, I'm going to buzz these real quick. Forgot to do that with the other one, so now that's gonna need a lot of work. Don't you love it? You skip one step and it's gonna cost you at least an hour's work. This is already starting to tack up. It's getting hot too. Woo. Come on, come on. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Oh, give me another 2 minutes. No, I can't use that. It won't. I mean, I could, but that would just be shoddy workmanship. Let me go get another cup. I'll be right back. How hard it is to make a grip out of what I believe is called micarta. Layers of fabric epoxy together. It's not that hard, but it throws a lot of dust, and you have to have a really good respirator to do that. You're from TikTok? Oh, thank you. It says it doesn't want to. Oh yeah, I'll be right back. I got more of these cups, but that's what I get for trying to be lazy and mix up all I'm going to need at once. And then, of course, up front of this shop is a two-car garage. Oh, hey, Jim. Up front's a two-car garage. My wife wanted a nice garage for her to park in the winter, and I'm like, hey, I want a place too. And then I decided, you know what? I don't need to park in there. My half is going to be an extension of my shop. So out there, I've got all of my blacksmith metal, my antlers, fabric that I don't want to get all dusty in here. There we are. Come on. There we go. But I try not to waste anything. Like my little mixing stick is a piece of Purple Heart left over from doing handles from another knife. And I try and keep every little bit that I can. Because even though I charge a lot for these knives, according to my customers, it is not cheap to make these things. I mean, hell, just one of, see those belts behind me hanging over there? All of those belts in the upper or middle left of your screen, each one of those belts is like $16 to $24, and I go through about 2 belts per knife of the size that I'm working on. And then, of course, there's the custom scales that can be anywhere between 15 and 20 bucks a piece. Overhead, I have to keep this shop heated in the winter because a lot of my equipment doesn't like going to the Wisconsin sub 60 below zero temperatures and then getting into the 130 degrees Fahrenheit positives when I light up the forge. It gets hot in here. I actually melted my clock. It's still functional, but the face is melted. A lot of people that know what it takes to make a knife say I'm fair priced, but I try and keep my prices low enough that people won't be afraid to use these knives, because I said it before, the easiest way to hurt my feelings isn't to tell me my work is shit. It's to say, oh my gosh, this is going in a safe. I'm never going to use it. It's too nice. No. That is absolutely not what I wanted you to do with it. There we are. So these 2 knives are actually a tack-on to an order that I was working on before, but they decided they liked it, so the father... They're actually designed by a child, I guess, 14-year-old, and the father ordered a knife for the son, and then he liked it, and he ordered one for himself, and then one for his 21-year-old. So I'm just trying to knock them all out at the same time, because these are custom ordered, and if I let too much time lapse between a custom order, my technique might change. I want them all to be as similar as possible. What angle are my knives sharpened to? It depends on the knife. I like to take cooking knives down to about 15 degrees. because, you know, for food it's just easier. But for most working knives, like these, you can see how thick that is. It's a meaty blade, but I bring them down to, let's see if I can bring it up high enough for the camera. I bring these down to about 20, but then I bevel it off at about 28 to 30 degrees for the working edge, right at the very edge, so that I can give them a little bit more support. I want them to have a nice, good glide in the cut, but at the same time I want the edge to hold for a little bit. These are high carbon, so they're tough, but at the same time you don't want to put too much effort into your cut. So I find that 28 to 30 degrees is normally really forgiving, but for my chef's knives I always take them down to 15, which means they're really fine, but with a proper heat treat you can normally do just fine with that. Well, I hope he does an everyday carry with it too. Hey Zach, how you doing? Now for the angles though, I do, when I do my hand grinds, my initial bevels are done by hand, but my final edges are, for the good knives, are done with an Edge Pro. And you can Google that. Edge Pro is a sharpening system that lets you keep really, really tight control on your angles. And with the selection of stones they have, I can take it all the way down to 7,000 grit if it's requested, and I can put a mirror edge on the edge, just a hair popping edge. With the custom order TikTok skits, are any of those true? Yes, they are true, including the witch talk ones. I have so many witch talk ones that I could put out there, but I try to be selective about it because some of that stuff is downright creepy. So I try not to do too much of the witchcraft ones. There we go. That's those. And now we just let them marinate. Yay! But yeah, after every custom order, I can remake any custom order I get ad nauseum because I cut out wooden mock-ups before I forge everything out. And then these just sit in a bin forever. I've done regular Chinese cleavers, you know, smaller ones. I've done big Chinese cleavers. These are all mock-ups. Weird Bowie combat style things. I have no idea what kind of knife this is, but that's exactly what they drew, so that's exactly what I made. But that, and then of course up there you can see I've got a whole bunch of other metal blanks that I made years ago, and I keep those at the ready. I can make those all the time. For the dad getting out of jail? Yep. For the 7K grit? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lily. But I try to keep a bunch of pieces at the ready. So like if someone says, hey, I saw your website, I saw a bunch of those knives, I do try to keep a bunch of these ready so that I can just throw them together. But just so you can see, I've got different types of metal too. Like these are the Hondo Caper styles. And this is regular high carbon. This is spring steel, coil spring from a truck shock. And this stuff is incredibly hard. Like I almost don't want to make any more knives out of this because it's a beast. In fact, I can't even drill through it with my titanium bits because they just chatter and it ruins them. I have to get the plasma cutter out and blast the holes in them. But this is how they start. I just take a section of the spring, straighten it out by hand, and then I go to the big blue hammer right there. And then I beat a section of it flat, and then I can use the plasma cutter to cut the rough shape out and then grind it. But these are so tough. Some metal's just harder than I'd like it to be. Oh, hey, De La Rosa. Hey, I got your dad's and your brother's knives here now. Yours is already in the house. These still need polishing, but they're glued up now. This is the leopard wood. I don't know if you can get a good picture of the wood quality. And then this is the Bacote with all the figuring. And I'll have these ready to cut and shape tomorrow. I'm going to let them set up overnight. It's only 5-minute epoxy that I'm using, but it's got a, what is it, a 3,000 pound hold, but I still like to let it set up overnight. Let's see here. Yeah, I only need to let it set for a half an hour if I wanted to work it, but the problem is when I'm doing the work on it, they tend to heat up, and once they heat up, that epoxy hasn't cured all the way yet, and it'll soften and the scales can slip and slide around a bit, and then you lose a little bit of your bond. So I just like to let it harden up all the way. Chef's knives, of course. I've got chef knives available. I can do crap. If you message me on the Facebook for this, my wife can direct you to the actual page. We're building a web page, and I do some kitchen cutlery out of antique saw blades. Let me go grab one. Hoppa. So I've already made a kitchen knife out of this, as you can see. But what's nice about it is these saw blades have extreme flexibility, ductility. So you can, once it's made into a blade, it can really handle a lot of work and abuse. Favorite wood for handles? Bacote, hands down. I love Bacote. It's always beautifully figured, and it's very easy to work, and it's got a very, very high oil and resin content, so it's really rot resistant. After that is leopard wood for the looks, and then behind that, just about everything else. My least favorite is antler handles. They take forever to work, and you got to be careful, otherwise it looks like trash. Oh, hey, Chris. Thank you. Oh, okay. The knife that I made from this one is actually on the home page. We do this thing my wife got into. It's called Rendezvous. And it's where you dress up like you're from the 1830s. And, of course, I'm a blacksmith, so I've got the forge and everything. But my wife made me make her a knife, and well, actually, a whole bunch of knives for that, and that is her absolute favorite knife. She keeps it in the kitchen. She uses it all the time. It holds an edge. It's not a nightmare. Purple Heart is hard, but it's not a nightmare to work with. And it's not a sensitizing wood, so I don't even have to wear a respirator when I work with it. Good quality knives to replace some of your current ones. Hey, awesome. If you have a knife block that you want the knife to exactly fit in, you can work with me, and I just basically have people take pictures of the knives at, like at the tip here, put the base over here, and then you measure it this way, and then I can make sure that the knife I send you will fit into your knife block just fine. But let's see. I've got commissions everywhere right now. In fact, I'm about to do, I need to do a drop point buck and bear, and then I've also got another Chinese cleaver to do. And the Chinese cleaver, he requested not be super hard and edge holding. He actually wants to be able to take a beating. So I'm gonna make his out of a plow blade, because those discs that are on a giant plow, being out here in the boonies, I have access to them. So I'm gonna actually I've been working this thing for a hot minute. This is an old, not even old, this is from last year, disc. I've already done one knife out of here, and this is a shovel. You've seen it in one of my TikToks. Actually, it's sitting against the wall back there in the corner, if you can see it right there. I stopped working on that due to non-payment, so I'm holding on to that. But I've actually got 2 Chinese cleavers that I'm going to get out of here, so I should be able to do body and handle, and give a good sized meaty cleaver, because this thing is not thin either. It's almost 1/4 of an inch. But if I can get my hands on some more of those, I'll be very happy, because that steel can be hardened up. Don't use a knife block. Yeah, bacteria. I get that. Sorry, I'm scrolling back to see what I missed. How far out am I with commissions? I joked that I was into February, but if I can keep rolling at my current pace, I should be no further out than maybe the second week in January right now. I've got about 40 pending for custom. So those are going to require a little bit of back and forth. Experience with karambits? Yeah. It's just a little hook knife. Hard to make. Commission, because some of the stuff with the seller I was going... Oh. Yeah, just send me a... Well, actually, I'm not almost done with that shovel. I built a jig, a one-time use jig, of course. You gotta clamp this down, and then I gotta take my acetylene torch and heat it up right across the middle. And then I was gonna take a bar of 1 inch square and then push down on it to put the bend in the shovel. And then I still have to forge and weld a handle onto it. So I've still got the lion's share of the work to do on that. But, you know, I'm so busy. If someone says, hey, I'm really sorry, I can't afford it right now, that's fine. I'm not going to throw it away or give it away or sell it. I'll hold it for a while. Just like this thing. This is actually sold. Someone found it on TikTok and said, hey, I want it. And I'm like, hey, cool, it's yours. So this is going to be leaving here soon. I still need to make a quick Kydex sheath for it, and then this will be out the door. But yeah, this has been in my shop since 2017. So it's not like I just throw you under the bus for non-payment. This stuff sits here for a long time before I'll let it go. Because I'm not vindictive. I know some people fall on hard times. Hell, you've seen my video. I've got a lot of hard stuff coming down on me right now. Yep, that's the LARPer blade. I actually had it in the house for a good long while, and I had it up high, but my youngest is a climber, and he climbed the shelf and reached up and grabbed it, and of course he grabbed it by the blade, And here's the thing. This has never been sharpened. It's just from the, it's like this from just me shaping it. So I haven't really put a fighting edge on it, but it is pretty damn sharp. An axe and sword. Unfortunately, my press pooped the bed, and without a press, I can't drift out the holes for axe heads, so I'm not doing those, unfortunately. But we'll see once I get a few more commissions done and I can try and afford it. I'm still waiting, actually, for the 3 knives that I've been working on. I'm still waiting for a shipment of belt loops to come in for my Kydex sheaths, because I still need to make sheaths for all those. And then I can send them out. The buck and bear and everything else I still got to work on. But I am about to go inside and print out the schematics for the buck and bear and the Chinese cleaver, and then I'm going to hop on the plasma cutter and blast those out tonight. Hey, Nathan. But I'm about to head inside because I got to print those out, and then my camera can't video while I'm doing the plasma cutter. But thank you guys for coming in and hanging out for a little bit. If I can do this again tomorrow when I'm at a stopping point with the other stuff, I will. I love talking to you guys. Hope you have a good one. And thank you. You know, me and technology, we just